this piece, I was happy to start over. So I did. And as it turns out, I have to have a lot of concentration to do things this complicated, which I can't do on stream. So maybe practice will help in the future, but I did get it done. As you can see, it kind of shimmers and changes colors a little bit in the foil colors. I am super proud of this, and what you see here is going to be stitched on with the thread that sort of matches this color. It's hard to match color changing materials, so I usually pick one and it'll go with it. But that is what I was attempting to do yesterday, and I got done today during the day. And it's turned out really, really great. Tonight, what I'm going to be working on is the other side of the bag. So, I'm going to put this up here on display, sort of. And we're going to start working on the rest of this. This is the book, the part that we had the other day that was the book. So, this will kind of just sit down here at the end. Have that over there. So this will kind of sit down here at the end, and I've got the rest of the parts to go on it. I'm going to put a different underlay on here though, but let's get to work on our crow. It's going to take me a minute to get that one. Let's find... There we go. Black patent. So I find that when you do same color on same color, as long as you have different textures or finishes to it, it works just fine. So this is black, but as you can see, the patent is going to make it stand out, so it'll be fine in the end. All right, crow down. Gonna have to change my blade because this took up, like, I think I used 3 different blades to get it done enough. Raven, stop trying to eat that. Forever trying to keep my cat out of the plastic is super fun. As you can hear, she is ignoring me. Raven, stop it. Very helpful animal. So, and the little gaps in the feathers here. Hi Jedi, thanks for joining us. Little gaps in the feathers here are gonna be yet another shade of black. This one will be kind of a marbled effect, so it'll stand out even more. All right, new blade. Yes, Raven's trying to eat plastic, so she's trying to get attention. Always and forever. I swear the cats get paid attention to when I'm not up here. And most of the time she's in my lap anyways, so it's not like she can't get attention while I am up here. Let's get this in. There we go. Alright. So I'm still going to cut this out in one piece. Some of the little bits here, again, modifying patterns and stuff for, I don't know if they ever survived in the wild. Sometimes modifying the patterns to go for what I need them to do, that requires me to cut things by hand like this, because even if a machine can cut this, the machine will not make corrections for the fact that I have to sew this stuff down. So that's kind of why I don't use the machine to cut things out as much as, I mean, I could, but I have to modify what I'm doing. So, like, just going to eliminate a couple of these fine lines because it's not going to translate real well and I won't be able to sew it down nicely. Hey, buddy. So this is kind of going to just be like a little boop there. Now, the legs are going to have to be like a little bit chubbier than a normal that you would normally see because, again, it has to be sewed down. Compensating for stuff like this is not that difficult, but it's something to be aware of. So, like, the claws and the talons and all of that sometimes have to be thicker than what you would see on an actual specimen. But I can't really do photorealistic stuff anyway, so it's not as big a deal. But again, it's just something you have to think about when you're doing work like this. Is, can I put a sewing needle on that and get it to stay down? Because even though I have double-sided tape, some of the lines are so thin that you can't put double-sided tape on there without it cutting out the sides. So, changing the profile and structures of some things is just necessary. Doing things like this, having to cut the legs out because we still want definition between them, but I have to make sure that I can actually, again, still sew it down when it's done. So what I'm gonna do is I just modify it as I'm cutting. And unless somebody gave me like a specific thing that they had to have in a piece, most of the time nobody notices. But like I have had people, you know, send me pictures of their pets. They want bags with their pets on them. And I've done those and those are fun. But I'm like, you know, I'm doing like a cartoon representation here. This is not like, you know, going to be a photorealistic representation of your pets. I would hate for someone to feel like I couldn't make a nice picture of their pet or something because they're expecting photorealism, and that's just not possible in this medium. Hello, Raven. I know. Yeah. Hi. And there she is in the lap. She's gonna have to get over the fact that I'm not petting her at the moment. Hi. Yeah, there you are. Okay. So we're gonna still do some of these feather details on the inside. Those are fine. We can get those. Might do a white underneath. I don't know. We'll see. Sometimes I have to get these things cut out and mess with it before I decide what color I want to put underneath. Hi. I'm being stared at accusatorially for not petting the cat. Bad person. But I'm busy, so she is going to have to cope. I'm ready for it to be spring. Tired of snow and cold. Okay, what I'm gonna do real quick I'm just gonna cut off this part that I'm working on because moving the vinyl roll around is getting on my nerves. Raven, please stop licking my arm. Rolled back up. This will be easier for me to work with, as opposed to the giant roll. And later I will cut out the eye hole for the bird, but for right now we're just gonna leave that there the way it is. Cutting circles by hand is incredibly difficult. That's why I use punches. Just makes life so much easier. But yeah, I think I figured out the main problem with yesterday was that I was too distracted by the stream happening and I couldn't focus enough. So I got that. I'm glad I got it finished up though. It makes me much happier that it worked. I did cut that. Oh, no, not. Cats are like children. The minute that you are doing something is the minute that they want something. Phone, work, whatever you happen to be doing that doesn't include them, they immediately want to be included in it. Like some kind of signal that they send out. So this one's gonna have a few pieces to it. I'm going to attach some of these smaller ones just so that I don't have quite so many pieces free floating around. It's hard to keep track of them sometimes, and then I end up having to do it again. Which can get annoying. But I really like the design on this one. The wings are so pretty. It's kind of almost tribal art-ish, but not like bad 90s tribal art where literally everyone had those awful tattoos. Except me. I didn't get one. I almost did though. I wanted one with a butterfly, like tribal art on it. But dodge that bullet. Alright. I'm gonna tape some of this down so I have less chance of things floating off. I don't know why those tribal tattoos got so popular there for a while. Yeah, Mike Tyson's on his face. But like so many dudes had those like barbed wire around there. Or I know a girl that had one that was a dolphin. It was a dolphin and the tribal art. It's really dorky. I think she got it covered up a few years ago, but tattoo trends sometimes are not always a great thing to jump on board to. Sometimes you end up regretting that. Not like you can't fix it eventually, but still. Costs time, money to get it fixed. All the tattoo shops had flash up in their shops of all these just ill-advised tribal tattoos for a very long time. Now you can't hardly find anyone with one anymore. Probably a few lower back tattoos floating around that nobody really wants to show anybody. Yep, here we go. But I like this design, it's kind of cool. So like I said, I'm connecting some of these smaller bits together so that I have not quite so many hanging around. And that's okay. Because this one reads more like a stencil when I'm looking at it. Okay, that's this one. Alright. I don't think I'd ever actually want a face tattoo. Not that I haven't thought about it, but like, it's a big commitment. It is a lot of sitting, and the more tattoo you want, the longer you sit. I have a few. I mean, I'm sure everyone's seen this one, because I have my arms out when I'm cutting all this stuff out, but I have some on my legs too. Nothing super impressive, but love to get sleeves. However, tattoos are very pricey. Which is why it never makes sense to me when people say they look poor when they have tattoos. Like, do you not know how much these things cost? You may not like tattoos, but that doesn't mean that somebody's poor if they have one. Unless they're going to some scratcher tattooing out of their apartment or something, which is always a bad idea. Never do that. It costs quite a bit of money, and even scratchers anymore are not cheap. Alright, let's see, where is that one? Okay. You don't know. Scratcher is a term for people who should not be tattooing but are. They tend to scratch your skin up and leave scars instead of actual pretty ink. Yep, that's exactly right. Quality, cheaper, fast. That's it. Nobody gets all three. Okay, so trying to cut this nice. So sometimes when you're doing work like this, easy to focus on smaller lines sometimes because they are the ones that usually are the most trouble. But I always try to make sure that I get the big lines really nice so that I don't have quite as much trouble with the smaller ones. Because a lot of these things, they like overlap and overlink, and if you cut too far out making it trying to make that too fat, well, I mean, all tattoos scratch. Scratchers, in general, tend to ink too hard. And they leave you with nasty scars instead of smooth skin. Your skin should not be scarred up afterwards. It should heal nice and flat. You should just have pretty pictures on your skin when you're done. Problem with using unskilled people because they're cheap is that you end up with nasty scars, and you can't get rid of those. You can cover up old tattoos, but trying to cover up scars is another beast. It's just not a good idea. Especially since you can also get skin infections and hepatitis and all kinds of stuff from people that are like tattooing on a wood table or something in their living room. It's not sterile. Most reputable tattoo places are very, very sterile. Most are required by the health departments of their state to be that way. Okay, let's peel this off. Yeah, I think that's gonna look real nice once we get it cut out. So, there's my talk on tattoos today. Go to a reputable place that's clean. Otherwise, you can end up with hepatitis or something worse. That dude that's doing cheap tattoos out of his house is probably going to give you something nasty. And scar up your skin. Believe it or not, people still go to them, but I've seen people that have gone to like places to get cosmetic surgery at people's houses, like silicone implants and stuff. That's nuts. How you end up with something fatal, I think. Oh, come on out of there. There we go. So no accounting for things people want, but they don't want to pay the full price for it, I guess. Sometimes I don't worry about ragged edges too much on birds because feathers are not smooth. And obviously it should look professional when I'm done, but I don't worry too much about tears and stuff when it's feathers. Because that's how feathers look. I love crows. I always wanted a crow as a friend. Little. Oh yeah, like actual silicone caulking. Yeah. I've read several of those stories and I'm just horrified by them every time. Like the stuff you use in your bathroom so that your tub doesn't leak should not go inside your body. That'll kill you. I think it actually did kill a few people. Or at least left them with some serious medical problems. Yeah, but nobody does serious medical procedures in their apartment building or trailer or anything else. They shouldn't be anyways. That might be a sign that you're not going to someone very reputable, I would think. I do kind of wish tattoo artists had cool nicknames still, though. You just don't hear about that anymore. Like, the guy who did my first tattoo was named Biscuit. Literally, that was his name. I mean, that's what everyone called him. There was also a guy in the shop named Mad Dog. was that other guy's name? It was a long time ago. I was like 19. Red Eye? Something like that. Tattoo artists used to always have nicknames. I don't see that much anymore. There's probably a reason for that, but I don't know what it is. Maybe tattoos just got more reputable and they didn't have to use fake names or something. I don't know. Just supposing. There we go. This one's going way faster than I expected it to. Okay, come on. Come on out. Okay. Sometimes I have to turn it so that the light hits it just right. So on these little bits, I don't have like big old gaping holes and stuff. Right, it does. I think tattoo artists should generally have nicknames. I mean, you know, if they want one, obviously, that's their choice. Maybe people stop trusting guys named Toad to give them tattoos. There we go. That was a nice clean break. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the big portion of this and then deal with the little bits. That's pretty. I like doing these kind of overlays because it makes it more interesting. But I do have to be careful because it does increase the thickness of the piece. This one should still be okay though. Some of the pieces though, you can only put so much on there before it gets inflexible and it makes it much harder to work with. Alright, this one's gonna be interesting. One out. There we go. So it's not that big. You'd think I remember a little bit better how I cut things out sometimes, considering I just did it, but sometimes I get so focused on it that I forget. There we go. Now I need... Coming together nice though. Trying to keep the space clean a little bit. Otherwise I end up dumping bits of vinyl onto the cat as she sits on my lap. She gets kind of grumpy about it. Reasonably you would say, wow, the cat shouldn't be on your lap. Cat doesn't listen. does get annoyed when I dump stuff. Oh, this little stuff? No, she won't try to eat this stuff. I've never caught her trying to do it anyways. I've never had, like, a bunch of missing trash or anything like that. They will mess with the thread, so I have to keep that in a separate trash can. She likes crinkly plastic, and a couple of my vinyls have crinkly plastic wrapped around them. So that's what she's always trying to get into. I've not found any missing pieces off of it. She just likes to crinkle it like, I don't know, like it's texturally satisfying or something. But she will try to eat the string, so I have to keep that put up. Thankfully not out of, like, not off the spools or anything, but all of the cutoffs I have, she will try to get those. Yeah, there we go. I think I like that a lot. Okay, I've got a little bit over here. Sometimes these little fiddly pieces will hide from me. There we go. Yeah. That's excellent. Okay. Moving right along. Yeah, I don't know what she's doing. Cat's weird. She's such a strange girl. I don't think this is meant to be part of this. I think this needs to come off. There we go. It's been very windy and dreary today. I would very much like for that to stop happening so that I can go outside and play in my garden again. It's one of my favorite things to do just for me is to go garden. I don't make any money doing it. It doesn't. It's not like something I just. It's just something I do for fun. And I miss it in the winter quite a bit. Winter is very hard for me. Oh, there we go. Sometimes I can get away, like on this particular material, with just pulling things off. And that works out for me. I still have to clean up the edges and everything, but it still works. So we're gonna trim up these little leggies here so we can tell that there are two. It is, again, a little bit thicker than the actual reference picture I was using, but it works out fine in the end. Yeah, gardening just makes me happy. It's an expensive hobby, to be honest. Especially when I keep ordering plants too. Make sure that I don't have any more grass out in the yard. Although, in my defense, my husband did ask that he not have any more grass to mow. So, I'm honestly just doing what I was asked to do. I don't know if he's listening to me right now, but if you see objection, it's probably... Good, I'm glad. No, but using my husband as an excuse is really kind of not okay. I would be buying these plants even if he hadn't asked me, but he's just cool with not having grass outside. So I'm like, okay, well, I can make your dream come true. I'm a generous person like that. Orchids are difficult. I think I've killed like 3 of them. They're very particular. That's why it's an expensive hobby. Okay, So we're gonna call this done for now. I gotta bang out the eye holes on this, but let's see. There we go. My little bird here. I might just leave the white edges on this one. I don't know. Anyways, our little white bird here is gonna sit real nice on top, or the little black bird's gonna sit real nice on this. There we go. So that's that part. So let's cut out some flowers. So this will be done in two parts. The petal parts will, or the flower heads themselves will be on a different thing than the, yeah, bonsais are like a patience kind of thing, and I just don't know. I just like to chuck plants out in my yard and see what grows. Most of it grows. I'm a pretty good gardener. Sometimes things don't, and I have to fight with them. Like delphiniums. I can't get those to grow. Like, they'll grow for one season and then they die, and they're not supposed to. It's very annoying. But I'm going to keep trying. Sometimes you just have to move them around until they find the right space. So that's like most of gardening, really. And plants die. They die all the time. It's just part of it. It doesn't mean you're a bad gardener. It just means plants die. Honestly. Like, an entire yard is gardens. And I still have plants die. All the time. It just happens. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't mean you're a bad gardener. And a lot of people think that's, like, that means you shouldn't be gardening if you have plants die. And honestly, the only reason I have a yard full of plants is because I just refuse to let them keep dying. And I would replace them with something else. Or I'd move them to a different spot. Because plants can be very particular about that. I just wish that people that garden knew that even people that have been gardening a long time still have plants die. Often. It's like one of the hallmarks of gardening. Really. Excuse me. My oldest son cooked dinner tonight and it was delicious. Made cassoulet, which is like a French stew. It was very, very good. So for like color themes for Gothic bags, I usually tend to go darker. But I think there's something eminently eerie about a really brightly colored flower, because the color on this one is going to be blue. And blue flowers are pretty rare, but I'll have little skulls inside the flower. I think that's almost more disarming than regularly dark plants. So I have no problem doing changes like that for what a client wants for the colors on their bag. Plus it looks like old Victorian wallpaper, and that's just really cool. I don't really have many trees, but we have a very small yard. So real estate gets taken up by plants mostly. That reminds me, we need to cut down one of ours. It got sick. So this one looks kind of like a stencil that I'm cutting out right now, and it's so easy to connect the parts that I've had people say, you know, why are you using a stencil? Because all the things are disconnected. Well, it's not hard to connect the parts to each other. They work out just fine. They know what they're doing. Gets too cold here for us to have citrus. Be nice if we could, though. I'd definitely do that. Who knows? Maybe someday. it'll be warm enough here to grow citrus. Let's get this cut out. I have a quest usually when it's gardening season. I go to the stores, usually the big box stores, and save plants. I can't just leave them there. It feels really wrong. I find the clearance plants that look like they're about to drop dead and I save them. It's probably ridiculous. Obviously, plants are not like kittens or something. Hey, nice to see you, Allie. Obviously, plants are not like animals or something, but it just feels so bad to leave them there on those clearance racks to just dehydrate and die. 90% of the time, all they need is water and to not be sitting on like asphalt. It irritates me sometimes, but I just bring them home. Yeah, it is not going to be conducive for citrus plants to live here. They just die. Be like trying to plant anything but a windmill palm, which I still kind of want to do because I think it would be hilarious to have a palm tree in Indiana, but they're kind of pricey. Windmill palms are one of the few palm trees you can plant in cold areas, as long as you have them somewhat sheltered from wind and stuff. But it's not always something that's going to survive either. So I haven't experimented yet because $60 experiment is pretty pricey. And that's just for a little one. I have a greenhouse now, so maybe, I don't know. That reminds me, I gotta start seeds next week. Get my heater set up. Got a bunch of flower seeds coming in the mail. So we can get those all started so I can have plants this year. It gets really cold here, so I have to be super careful with when I'm planting. But on the other hand, places where it gets really warm can't have spring bulbs either, because the bulbs get too tired. They don't have a chance to rest, have a period of dormancy. Which, what we traditionally think of as spring flowers, most of them do require that. So, guess there's trade-offs. Though I do grow calla lilies here, and I'm so proud of that. And my dahlias. Dahlias do not have to be lifted at my house, which is exciting for me because I'm a giant nerd. My dahlias and calla lilies are perennials, which is not normal for up here. But I have what's called a microclimate in front of my house, which means the plants at the very excuse me, my plants at the very front of my house are more protected than anything else in the yard. So even though I'm not supposed to be able to have perennial calla lilies and you know, dahlias are supposed to be lifted because they're tropical, I do have them, and I love them. They're wonderful. They make me so happy. I love dahlias. One of my favorite garden styles, his English gardens. Like those kind of cottagey gardens. That's what I'm trying to do here. Have like little cute cottage gardens all over the house. I think I'm getting pretty close. Kind of have that nice hodgepodge going, but it's not like too bad. Yeah, we have nasty hot days with things get really, really hot and humid. Ugh, I hate humid. But not like tropical climates, really. Though every year it seems to be getting hotter for longer. Bit disturbing, that. Okay, yeah. Alright, plant done. Now we need to do flowers. I'm trying my best to save this little bit of this parlor paper that's left because I love it so much, but they discontinued it. I love the parlor paper. I used to have it like 5 colors, and this is all I have left for the blue. It makes me sad because it's so pretty. So what we're going to do with these is I'm going to go ahead and cut out the tops of, excuse me, my throat is drying out, so I might have to take a drink here in a second. I don't know why that noise is so satisfying, but it is. A little tink when I'm cutting things. Anyways. Changing these up just a hair so that when I put the little skulls in here, they can sit in there a little bit nicer. Because I don't think these back petals are necessary. Like this one up here, I'm not going to cut that out. It'll just look like the skull is kind of sitting in there, like it's popping out like the center of a real flower. I've done this design a lot. It takes me a while to find reference pictures sometimes. Things are going to work the way I want them to work. So I will separate the petals a little bit. We're not going to go full all the way down because that takes time to put the petals back together a little bit. Takes it a little too far for me. Because I really just need to know what it is. People just want to know what they're looking at. And in this case, it's a flower. We can get that impression without sorry, my sinuses are just so bad because it's about to like drop tomorrow to be like much colder. So when you have sensitive sinuses, that's a problem. Alright, let's get some more flowers cut out here. These are, again, not something that I worry about being horribly precise on because flower petals are not an even thing. They're all very different. And this one, I am going to go ahead and put, put this on here. Because we'll have the skull peeking out of the top of it. Putting them in different stages of coming out of the flower, I think makes the piece more interesting. Yeah. Okay, that one's done. Cut out the skulls here in a few minutes. I'm not sure I'm going to use all of these flowers, but I'd like to have more than enough just in case I decide to use all 4, but I'll probably only use 3. 2 big ones and a little one. Yeah, we'll see. All right, come on. It's like I can feel the barometric pressure dropping in my face. It's not great. Okay, now I need this. Okay, down there. Let's get this one cut out. Okay, there's that. Last one. You know what? I don't think I did do that part. Oh, I did. Okay, good. All right. So. I think I'm going to do this one just a little bit different and see if I like it better. Poking my finger. Don't worry, I didn't cut. I was afraid that one of these days I'm just like gonna severely slice myself up on camera and people like, oh my god, what just happened? Alright, that's all the flowers. The reason I didn't cut this one out like I did the crow is because it's not really on an edge, and I have so little of this parlor paper left that I will just cut out these parts and then save all the rest of what I can, because I can't get any more of it. Unless my vendor starts carrying it again, which I don't know. I really like this line. But things change. They gotta do what they gotta do for their bottom line, so 'tis what it is. Just doing this one a little bit rougher, and then I'll cut out the details as I go. As you can tell, someone outside my house has a giant truck. They're all very proud of their giant trucks that go brr, brr, down the road all day. What purpose they serve other than that, I have no idea. It is very annoying at like 2 or 3 in the morning though. What's unique about this one? Hang on, and I'll show you. Just let me get this other one out of here and I will tell you. So, parlor paper is based off old wallpaper. I don't know if you're old enough to have known anybody who had velvet wallpaper is pretty much what this is. Has a texture to it, and this one has a sparkle to it, but as you can see when you move it, it kind of shifts like that. And it's based on old wallpaper. Wallpaper used to look like this, probably without the glitter. But it used to be velvet, and it would shimmer and change colors as you walked by it or the light hit it or whatever. It was just a really cool thing, and they reproduced it in this instance in vinyl. It's just really cool. And I really like it, and it's worked so well in a lot of applications that I use it on. Like, I've used it for oceans, and I've used it for flowers, and I've used it for a whole bunch of other stuff. It just works really nice in a lot of applications. My voice is starting to go, and I don't know why that is. But I do know it's annoying. Alright, let's get this. Let me get this flower cut. Raven, leave my feet alone. Thank you. Hi. Oh, somebody else has a big Berber truck. Okay. So there we go. There's like the open flower one. I think I like that a lot. Let's see about this one though. Ugh. It's raining really hard out there. What is it icing? Ew. I think I hear ice. That's not great. But anyways, this vinyl is also, it's also textured. So it's just a really nice medium. And I really like all the different colors that it came in. I wish I could get it again. Sometimes the vendor brings back different older ones, but I don't know if this one's ever going to be one of them. That's why I get a little bit weird about buying a bunch of vinyl when I see it, because sometimes they take it away. Okay, so let's try this one. I don't know if I'm going to keep the outside petals on this one or not. We'll see. But we are going to make it just a hair different than the other one too. That's the fun thing about doing this by hand. Well, kind of fun for me because I'm weird. But each one of them looks a little bit different anyways, because I, the human being, am cutting them by hand, and it's not like stamped out of a machine press, which is, you know, it's not bad, but it's not what I do. Everything looks a lot more uniform when you use a machine press. No, I don't like that at all. Just gonna bloop. I don't like the closed flowers with these. There we go. See, those are like the same flower, but they're still different. They look weirdly like fetuses. That's really strange. I gotta change a profile on there. Like weird blue glittery things. That's weird. I don't know. I'll have to look at that later. I think when the skull comes out of it, it'll be alright. My dog is downstairs snoring. Because that's just the kind of dog he is. He's such a lazy boy. Oh, come on. Come out of here. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it is kind of special edition vinyl. So I have to pay more for it if I ever run out. A lot of noise going on downstairs. Oh, I'm almost there. So used to leaning back in my chair, I forget that I'm supposed to be on camera doing this stuff. Oops. Teachers always said it was a bad habit. There we go. There. That one's pretty. Feels bad throwing these scraps away sometimes. Like, no, I have less. Alas. I'll find something else eventually, but I really did like this line a lot. Alright. So. Ice is hitting the windows. Hope we don't lose power. That always gets real hairy around here. My youngest son does not like the dark at all. It usually gets a little ugly. That's why we have flashlights about every 5 feet in the house. Alright. There's 4 sparkly blue flowers. Let's look at skulls. I use these for scrap paper when I have to print out little stuff. So we tuck it down here. And there we go. Let's get skulls. You get to see how I tuck the little skulls in there. And then I gotta cut out some big frilly fronds for the sides of the book. A lot of old Victorian garden illustrations had that kind of really dark feel to them, and they had a bunch of I won't say like made up, but like embellished fauna. A lot of that happened in Victorian illustration books. They weren't entirely accurate. Some of them were. Some of them were really beautiful, like botanist studies and stuff like that. But a lot of them seemed to miss the mark a little bit when it came to accuracy. So we're going to go for the inaccurate because I really want that kind of big high Victorian look to them. So I don't often on these little tiny baby skulls put teeth on them. It's just too much. I can't work that small. Not with my hands. Maybe some people can. I cannot. So we just kind of have an impression of jawbone. Then most people get what it is when you have eye holes and the nose holes. Stylized, that's the word I was looking for. That is a polite term. They were very stylized. Kind of like when I do pet portraits. They're stylized. Mainly because you're never going to get, well, not from me anyways. Maybe there's somebody out there doing beautiful pet portraits cut out of vinyl and stuff. I don't know. But I can't do photorealistic stuff like that. Alright, skull one. Sometimes I have to take the lower jaws off when I'm putting them into the plant, but we'll see. They always look like they're smiling. Happy little skulls. See? Happy. Sometimes I'll rough up the straight lines just so that maybe people, if you stare at it long enough, you think you're looking at teeth without me actually having to make teeth. There we go. So I think I'm just going to give a representation of these and I'll do the other three in a little bit. And we'll cut out some stylized foliage. I heard someone say foliage the other day and it just sounded really strange and I don't know which one of us is right. That's the thing about being a kid that reads a lot. You are never quite sure if you're actually saying a word correctly because you only read it. So the general idea of these is we put the flowers on here and they sit inside, the skulls sit inside there. So we have like a very goth kind of plant going on here, and I think that the white works really nice inside of the blue flower. I mean, we could have gone with red, but client wanted blue flowers, and I'm more than happy to do that. Because you can be pastel blue and still goth. There we go. And so then, when I get to the other ones, I shift the skulls around. So, all of these little dudes here will have the skull sticking out of them too. But I will cut the rest of those in a little bit because I would like to get to the foliage that's going to go around the sides once I find my stuff. There we go.
How about you don't run?
My son is scolding the cats. Apparently, Goose is being a butt. Surprising no one who lives at my house. This one won't take long. Skulls take a little bit longer. So let's get kind of swoopy plant look going on. by and large, when I'm plotting out these kinds of bags, I have to give myself a few easy pieces because otherwise it would be too much. I still have to make the lace for the pockets. And yes, I do make lace out of vinyl. It is not super simple, but it's not the worst thing. The stamp that I've just finished for the back is by far one of the most complicated things I've ever tried to put together. And that was why it just took me so long to try and finish that. So here's one of my little tricks that I use when I'm doing work like this. Once I get everything cut out, I take the leftover pieces and I use those too. So I have free little bits here that are going to be some grass. So all I do is kind of, if I have to cut out one part of it, why not use the other parts? So see, got a nice little tuft of grass I can tuck around the side of one of the pieces without me having to do a whole bunch more work. Fun stuff, right? There you go. Now you know one of my secrets. Super secrets. Sorry, y'all. I gotta look for the rest of my pieces that I had sent out here. I don't know if I still have them or not. Alas. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of... There it is. Alright. Yeah, I try not to waste a whole bunch on this, so if you'll notice, I'm kind of like putting things together. And it's also more energy efficient for me, because I don't have to think about the shapes. They're just already there. So when I'm messing around trying to get, you know, organic shapes, I can usually use my offcuts for that, or what's left on the piece. So we have two of the generally same shapes, kind of like this scrolly frond work. It's not exactly like, say, a fern, but it's that, again, that kind of stylized Victorian foliage. You see a lot of shapes like this in illustrations or paintings of things that don't actually exist, but they look really cool. So can't really be mad at anyone for trying to make things look neat like that. I almost lost this. I gotta tape it down real quick, because I was trying to go around that corner and the piece moved. Now, if I'm not being careful, the whole thing will come apart and I will end up with not the shape that I wanted. But that's why I have to use so much tape. Because movement. It is my enemy. So I'll just tape that first. And get this little curly cue here. I feel like my head is like about to explode, like in that movie Scanners. Ugh. Such a weird movie. The sound effects were awful. But it was really fun too. I really like that movie. Alright, let's get this taken out. Going to try to be careful over these wave parts, and I'll use some of this too in the final. As you know, again, just different grasses and stuff. Because I'm going to be doing kind of like Victorian garden kind of deal here. I think it's important to have that kind of overgrown look a little bit. So yeah, there's the other leaves. So we've got these two that are going to be fronds coming off the side, like this one here. So this one will go on one side and this one will go on the other. And then I'll have just a little more grassy shapes going around the other side. Or around the bottom, I don't know. We'll see. I try to avoid these little curly Q shapes because that really does give away that it was part of the offcuts of something else. But, like, I like the shape that this one's in right now. So we're just kind of trim it down a little bit. So it looks a little bit more like grass kind of flowing over. But again, this is far less effort for me than having to cut the entire shape out. So we're just going to make this a couple different pieces. There we go. Grass. Et voila. Okay, so next part is going to be cutting out all the skulls, but I've done those and you all can see how that's going to look. So I am going to go ahead and call this one a night and do some of my repetitive works and clean up some of the pieces that I've already done. Like, as you can see on here, there's still some hairs and stuff like that, which that is really boring work for me. So I don't think that anyone's actually going to want to watch me do it. But I appreciate y'all being here tonight, and I will talk to you all later. Bye!